Brought to you by Penguin.
The Chocolate Box Girls at War by Gracie Hart. Read by Victoria Brazier. Chapter 1. York, 1940. Rose Freeman felt the tears running down her cheeks as she held tight to her true love, Ned. "I don't want you to go. Please stay," she whispered, as she buried her head in his smart RAF uniform and held him close, breathing in the smell of his heavy cologne and not wanting him ever to leave her. "I know you won't be based far from me, but you might as well be 1,000,000 miles away, especially when you fly out on a mission." Rose sighed and felt her heart beating next to his as he bent his head down and kissed her gently on the lips. "Shh. You know I've no option. I have to go. But I'm in good company. We're all friends and we'll look after one another. No harm will come of us, and I can sleep easy knowing you and my mother are looking after each other." Ned touched his lucky rabbit's foot in his pocket and knew he was lying through his teeth. Elvington Airfield had already lost its fair share of air crews, and now the war was progressing. No one was safe. "I'm frightened this war will take you, just as we found one another and have plans for the future. Oh, don't go, Ned. Please tell them that you're ill, that your mother needs you, anything that makes you stay here." Rose felt a searing pain in her heart as she saw Ned's friend, Peter, come driving down the road in his open-top car. She glanced down at her diamond engagement ring. Ned's few days on leave had been all too short. "You know I can't. I'll come home safe. It's only another mission. Pete and I will look after one another. As soon as I can, I'll come home, and you know that I write to you every day, and like I promised, if I ever fly over the house on my return, I'll cut my engine so you know it's me." Ned held Rose tight. "I love you, Rose. Once this war is over, we will marry. We will happily live here and bring 2, 3, or even 4 children up, and drive my mother mad with their noise and pestering. Until then, I must do my best to protect this country, and you must do your bit by looking after your family and working at Rowntrees until things get better." Rose looked up at her man and held him tight, as she always did before he returned to the Elvington Airfield and the dangerous life he'd chosen, even before conscription had been made compulsory, over the safe and reliable job of making chocolates at the Rowntrees factory. "I never get used to these farewells. In fact, they're getting harder," Rose said and kissed Ned. "You take care of yourself and let me know the minute you return home. Please, telephone me at work. They won't mind," she whispered, and ran her hand down his face before kissing him again. "Come on, Ned, we'll be late," Peter Lawson called as he opened the passenger door to his co-pilot and best friend, ready to speed back to the busy airfield before the next bombing raid over Germany. "He'll be back, Rose, don't you worry. And he's got the best pilot in the RAF next to him. We look after ourselves." "He's right. They're not going to get us too," Ned said, wanting to linger in his fiancée's arms forever, but knowing he couldn't. "Now, look after Mother, keep the board of Rowntrees on their toes, and give my love to your sisters from me. You know I love you." Then at last he walked across to Peter's car and jumped into the seat next to him in the small open-topped vehicle that was his friend's pride and joy. Rose stood at the side of the road as both men waved. Then Peter pipped the horn as they drove away, past the perfect homes they were both fighting to protect from the reaches of the Nazi forces that looked like they were to take over the world with their hatred. "Come on in, love. You can't stop him from going. He's doing what he thinks is right," Ivy Evans said, as she watched the lass that had given her heart to her son. "I know. I'm proud of him. But every time he leaves now, I think, will this be the last time I see him?" Rose sobbed. Ivy sighed. "He'll be back before you know it. Now, let's have a game of whist to take our minds off him leaving. Else we both just sit and worry, and that does neither of us any good." She had been in Rose's shoes when her man was fighting in France in the last war, and she knew all too well what she was going through. "He'll be back before we know it," she said quietly again, reassuring herself as well as Rose, and hoping that her words would prove to be true, as she shuffled the well-worn cards and held back her own tears. Seabum sat down at the highly polished table and looked at his boardroom members, heads bowed, and took a deep breath before announcing the words he had dreaded uttering since the outset of the war that was now plaguing the world. "Things are not good, my friends. We have got to admit that there is nothing more we can do to keep the war from..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?